So basically, most of the world's population is fucked, but the good news is that there is a certain part of the population who are already planning to make sure that they survive. And we're going to go to a video now to see how they're going to do it.
So, who are you?
I'm sorry?
Who are you?
Oh, yes. My name is Ingo Sembra, and I'm with an association of some of the largest companies on Earth, especially American companies, but including Danish companies, English companies, some of the best companies on this planet. We are assuring transport, sustenance, health, as well as education for some of the world's best people.
And what are you in Copenhagen lobbying for?
We're lobbying for a deal, deal. We're lobbying for no deal because we think that actually the market has the best solutions for the climate, or any deal which actually includes market mechanisms such as offsetting as part of a package to basically assure that business is part of the solutions for climate change in the upcoming decades.
But if climate change runs its course, won't everyone just die? So they won't.
Not so fast. Let me introduce the Survivable X7. It's a solution, a complete solution for climate change, no matter what condition hits, whether it's sea level rise, increased temperatures, droughts, even massive international conflict. This solution will protect you from the effects. Yes, absolutely.
And how does it work?
Well, these are retractable armament devices, as well as carbon capture, momentary carbon capture temporary devices. There is a full recycling solution within.
I'm pissing in it right now.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not just pissing that can be dealt with. Anything can be dealt with. It's actually got reproductive technologies embedded. This is a special, think rocket skin.
And so do you have 6.5 billion of these for everybody?
Well, obviously not. They're very expensive at the moment. They will go down in price somewhat. But the great thing about this solution is we'll only actually need a few hundred. The idea is to protect the leaders of the engines of prosperity, the leaders of business, to assure that the best solutions are come up with continuously well into the future, regardless of what happens. So come 2040, 2050, 2060, some of the calamities that are expected, we will ensure the survival of those people who drive prosperity into the solutions that will continue to drive prosperity past those conditions and well into the future conditions, which will follow those conditions so long as the people within the solution survive.
So what about all the other people?
Well, there are necessarily a few casualties in any progress. I mean, the Industrial Revolution involved some casualties. This revolution will involve more casualties, but I don't want to go into the details right now, but you can read our position papers, and the people who will drive prosperity the most in the future and into a more distant future will be protected.
Okay, well, thanks for your time.
Sure.
So that's the good news. The corporates are going to be safe in their gated communities for one, even while the rest of us burn in hell. So when we came here on the way, on the UN train, we bumped into somebody who's very important and also very nice. He's the UN's top eco-bod, and I took the opportunity to ask him about our new campaign, which is called 1010, which we're going to be talking about a lot later. But I'm just telling you that so you know what the hell we're talking about in this clip, which is now coming. Over there is Achim Steiner, who, when I made my film about the Narmada Dam, he was chair or something of the World Commission on Dams, and he's actually in my Narmada Dam film, and now he's Assistant Secretary General of the UN. Hi, excuse me. I'm Franny Armstrong from The Age of Stupid.
Very nice to meet you.
You're Achim Steiner, I believe.
I am indeed.
You don't know this probably, but you're actually in an earlier film of mine that I made about the Narmada Dam. And you're at the World Commission of Dams introducing the report.
Is that right? Were you in London at the launch?
At the London at the launch.
With Nelson Mandela?
Exactly. With
Amazing.
Nelson Mandela, yeah. But the only problem is that there was a problem with the PA system, and so your voice sounds a bit weird. But don't take that personally, and it's very succinct, and you make a very good point.
Okay, excellent.
What do you like?
So I think I'm right in saying that the very best deal, according to the Met Office, the Hadley Centre, if we got that deal, that would be a 50-50 chance of not hitting 2 degrees. So, in other words, the best we can hope for is a 50-50 chance. Why are we going for such a low chance? Shouldn't we go for something higher?
I disagree for 2 reasons. First of all, I think we have to take the world on a journey, and I think to write off a deal in Copenhagen is too early right now. Countries have just begun to put all their cards on the table, and indeed they haven't put all their cards on the table. I think right now we have unprecedented participation. We have 100 and more heads of government coming. This is how you get a deal done. Secondly, we have the United States re-engaging after 10 years of being absent and having held the world back de facto from being able to move on climate change. We have China, India, Mexico, Brazil, Indonesia coming forward in voluntary terms and making offers because they want to signal their support for a deal in Copenhagen. That is a tremendous improvement on where we were just even 6 months ago. Now the question is, these offers are the floor of the negotiations. Now we have to start stretching for the ceiling.
Brilliant. So can we come back and talk to you on the 18th of December and get your reaction?
Absolutely, and I can tell you right now, if the result is not credible, if it locks the world into another decade of inaction, then I have absolutely no fear of saying so, because I think the world will need to know.
If the world leaders fail to prove themselves as leaders, in other words, they fail to get the deal that we need and they lock us into a horrific future, what do you feel that the people how should the people respond, do you feel?
I think everybody will have their own reactions, but at the end of the day, the last thing I would recommend to people is to sit back and get frustrated. I think you have, in a democracy, the opportunity to re-elect or not elect your leaders. Go back to your community, go to your school, go to your local government. Look at how you can change things in your neighborhood. In many countries across the world, climate neutrality is now being developed by local initiatives, by local communities, local councils, by businesses. And that is another way in which we can change the world, literally. And I think people should not always wait for others to, in a sense, do the big job. But at the end of the day, let's also be clear. We will lose the battle against climate change if we do not have a global climate partnership. And that, at the end of the day, has to be always where we return to. One of the difficulties, I think, of the last 10 years is that we've seen a lot of initiatives. As I call it, the green economy is mushrooming all over the planet, but it is always experiments. People are not supported. If you travel cleaner, you are punished by having to pay more. If you buy a cleaner product, you have to pay a premium. It's a perverse economy that rewards those who pollute more by still making them pay less for the same commodity.
In the UK, we launched this campaign called 10-10. It's about cutting 10% of emissions next year, i.e. in 2010. It's not like let's wait for 2020 or 2040 or something like that.
People often think that doing something about climate change means that, we have to turn the lights off and everything somehow will get more difficult. Reducing our emissions by 10% is so easy. I mean, you just have to change a few light bulbs, think about maybe a couple of trips with your car and figure out how you can change something perhaps in the way you heat your house, and you're already well above 10%. So this notion that is always projected to people that somehow doing some about climate change comes at the expense of our economies is wrong.
So will you sign up to 10-10 then? Will you commit to cut your emissions 10% next year? Which, if you do, then I'll give you this tag, which is made from a recycled 747.
Look, I have absolutely no problem in committing myself to a 10% target, because I'm working and I have in part succeeded already to help the whole United Nations family move towards climate neutrality. And UNEP became, in 2008, one of the first UN organizations and international agencies to declare itself carbon neutral.
But that's with offsetting, I believe.
That's
ours is without offsetting.
Yeah. So we need a couple of years more as institutions to be able to do that. But
forget the couple of years, we've got to move fast. Let's sign up the UN 10% next year. This would be fantastic.
That's not doable. That's not doable.
The Welsh government just signed up last week. All of the Welsh government estate.
I have to be able to. I cannot. That's right. But let me tell you.
Okay, but you're going to sign up yourself, though, right?
Absolutely.
As you've committed to cut your 10%, I hereby give you a little bit of a recycled 747.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I take up the challenge.
Right.
Okay. Thanks, Penny.
UN signed up, not the whole UN, but nearly.
Lady with the camera?
Sorry, no.